There's also a weekly Zoom with John Locke every Tuesday night. So if you want to be listening in on the Zoom and asking questions about your situations or how to read the notice process and learning more about Magna Carta, you can email John and you can get on those weekly Zooms so you can continually learn and know how to do the notice process. Tuesday? But it's about 7:30 Adelaide time. That's Perth time.
I'm just going to give John a rest for a while. But what we'll do now, we'll go through the Magna Carta 1215 website. We've just got a lot of really good information. It's a good starting point for everyone to go and have a look at. We'll just go through these quickly and we'll have a question there. A lot of the questions that's one on the side anyway. Your answers, I should say. Yeah, John has actually said before, he talked about principles and stuff. Some of these little slideshows actually go through it, put in shorter, like 5 or 10 minute quick videos.
You want to just mention about the promotion to the police stations?
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Just before we went before, there was a slide up that showed some questions, 12-pointed questions for every police person with QR codes. We had a campaign of that and sent one to every police station in Australia. And it's easy for them to just use their phones and look at the QR codes, and it went right through Magna Carta, John Locke's videos and all that, and nothing. We heard nothing back from it, but we heard a lot of people ringing up and asking them, and no one's heard anything, no one said anything. But we know it's got through to some of them, because there has been a lot of officers resigning lately. So well, I'm not going to take credit for that because karma is getting them, right? But we're hoping to push them along. Yeah, we've also done one also for councils all around Australia as well. Same sort of deal with the QR codes and how they're committing fraud and treason and that type of thing. But a lot of those people too, they won't say anything or do anything.
So we're having to go to CEO of the council at the moment.
Yep.
That means that they have got one of that.
Oh, they should have got one. But they might have got plenty because we cover WA, a lot of groups cover different states. So some might have overlapped on others. But we'll talk about the lawful notices in a minute, and this is what would be more productive for you to do. I've already done my council CEO, he's got 6 for me. And I've got letters from his lawyers, and I've put them on notice and put on the way.
That's the police one, there's also the council.
Well, this is the police letter campaign. The police letter campaign.
We got someone here, Ian. Ian, we got someone to us.
I don't suppose you can see that, it's probably not the best, but it goes through and asks them each question in there. But we'll send out, if you go to this website, you can have a look yourself and you can spend your leisure and find out yourself. But it's asking them direct questions about their job, basically the moral side of it and trying to awaken their moral compass, which is hard to do, but the more these constables or police violate people's rights, the more time is set back and forth. And as the pendulum swings, it swings back and has to be paid back and forth. Because one thing in nature affords needs balance. You can only go so far in nature or want it to pay back.
The gentleman over here wants a question.
Yep.
Maybe ask if there is a question.
Well, let us go through all this first, and then we'll have our question and answer session.
Is it
And
about-
like I'm saying, we'll go to this website, and a lot of the questions will be answered by the documentation here. To get into this really, it takes hours. And it's going to be up to you when you leave here, if you're really concerned to increase your knowledge. I've been doing this 2.5 years, 3 years, and I started off at knowing nothing. And it was a big shock to me. Huge, big learning curve.
So there's the news and articles.
Yep, go to that.
That's an article there at the top one. Mentions about.
So these are just some different videos.
This is different videos we can look at. A lot of this is John's covered in his slideshow. But this is, we're only going to go through it really quickly so you can take it to leisure. Yeah, click to the next one. Earlier on, Fitzroy Sterling, I don't know if anybody's heard of him. He's probably one of our mentors. He used to do a video thing with Carl Leopold for a while. I think it's about 18 or 19 videos with him. They've sort of had a parting of the way. But some of the content in there is excellent. Larkin Rose is another guy to look at. He's much into voluntarism or anarchism, which means no slave, no master. That's what anarchism means. And that's Will Keith. That's a really good interview. He discusses Magna Carta, but he's more interested in Articles 39 and 40 about the jury. Everyone's seen those Richard Oates with it?
And that one's got John Locke in it.
Yeah, John Locke also appears on there. And that's David Robertson. He's got quite a few videos explaining a different way of the same thing. That one before, just go to the one that's got blank. That's a guy that I really like. His name's Mark Passio. He used to be an occult Satanist, and he has sort of gone against it now. He produces videos which is very high quality, but he's very abrasive. So if you're a bit temperamental, but what he says is the truth. Now these are the lawful notices I was telling you about for your council employee, or it doesn't matter, any public person or anyone who runs a business or anything like that. Now there's five notices. There's the first one's notice of conditional acceptance. But we're just going through it quickly.
Yeah, I just want to mention that there is a guide, so it goes through the step-by-step process, so you can look at that and then you can go down and see.
The first thing you need to do if you want to jump on board with these type of things is flip back a little bit. There's an oath of allegiance. That's to the barons. That was linked back to Article 61, where you take an oath to the barons, and once you stand in law, that means you're commanded to practice lawful dissent. You are not to follow orders or take any of their action statutes, because they're all null and void, and you're orally commanded to disobey. And if any public official tries to put such action statutes on his person, they are committing high treason. That is the law. They know all this, all the justices, and they know all this. The unfortunate thing is that lawyers and stuff like that, when they go to lawyers schools or whatever they call it, they only know about 20 years of constitutional law. They don't understand what Magna Carta is. Magna Carta's been, excuse the word, but been bastardised. I think it goes up to 1297, which is a statute version, which even the Australian government's got a copy of in Canberra, and it's still got Article 39 and 40. So trial by jury is the real deal.
I would suggest the lawyers know that Magna Carta, they don't want anything to do with it.
I'd say it's back to what John was saying about their science and ignorance. They willfully don't want to know. There's a lot of scenarios here. You might say if you get a speeding fine for over you must rebut everything. So there's cover letters, there's various different ones for different scenarios, and then you send them the first notice. But you must find out the person who was in charge, because it's a personal thing. And then every 10 days, or 10 working days, 11 working days, I used to wait 2 weeks, then you send them the second notice. And if they send you another final rebuttal, then you escalate it a bit more, and then you have another cover letter rebutting that, and so forth, and you do the 5th notice. Notice of conditional acceptance has got quite a lot of information. It talks about the treason in England, the Jack Straw, Treaty of Nice, and all the rest of it.
Her response.
You can on there just download all the documents in one go, and then it's well worth you to spend your time on it, because you could spend hours discussing all this. It's basically filled out for you, or you just try and read it all and learn what it's saying, and just where it's yellow highlights, you just put the necessary fields on the names of the people, yourself, and whomever. But it's quite detailed. There's been barristers and that look at that and they can't believe it, because they can't rebut it because it's true. But the first one is the one with all the meat in it.
Approximately how many have you sent out of these?
Me?
Not you, but
Me personally.
Well, how many you know of Australia-wide?
Oh,
What's your
it's put out. Oh, probably thousands.
Like, not in the tens of thousands. Under 10,000 or above?
Oh, yeah, thousands for sure. I'm not sure, because a lot of people, this is in Australia, I'd probably put out about 70. You would have put out a couple hundred, would you?
I've probably done about 200.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But all different people, to the coppers, the judges, the CEOs, and everything. But 9 times out of 10, they don't say anything. They don't, because they don't rebut. It's one of the assumptions of law, where they acquiesce and they agree. So they all agree they're committing treason. So these documents should go into court, like a trial by jury, not big state courts, and they're all these witnesses. This is what the whole setup is to have these lawful documents, so when the time comes to go before the trial by jury and appeal, then it's all laid out and they're all guilty.
Let me just go through this. The evidence is there, just summarise those.
Oh, okay. With everything like this, there's Exhibit A there is the Delhi Telegraph report on the Article 61. There's an entry, I can't remember the date of it, but it's actually published in the Telegraph paper. Yeah, 24th of March, the day after. So it's all available there for you to have a look at. So when you send these exhibits out, there's all links to them in the website. So you've got the Baron's petition, you've got Article 61, then you've got that law, TMS letter to the head of the heat, that's explaining the treatment.
SCO 30, 1048. If you print that out, that's about nearly 500 pages of cabinet discussions of people that they knew that they were committing treason in 1972 when they joined the EC.
And Exhibit G is your oath of allegiance, just make it possible. With the oath of allegiance, it's not anything sort of hairy, it's just intent. It's your intent to follow Article 61. That's all it means. A lot of people get hung up in religion and stuff. It's not. It's all about intent. And that's what you do with that. You set it for yourself, and all that means by registered mail shoots on the public record. That's all that means. So You just keep it, you make 2 copies, you make 2 of them, both signed with signatures. As long as they're a new criminal record, they're fine. As long as they're over 18. And you have 2 copies, leave the one original letter in the envelope that you received, because then it's proof on the public record, registered mark. And the other one, just make copies of it. And so when you send your notices out, you attach them to that. So I'm just let you go through it all. This one here is just loaded. The reply is actually quite interesting too when you have a read of that.
He basically agreed to follow the advice of the ministers of Washington.
Yeah, committed treason. Yeah. There's another 4 notices, but they're not as involved. All they're doing is giving the opportunity, if they've got, to reply. But if they don't, they acquiesce and then whether they agree with it. They can't rebut it because it's law, it's true. No.
I think it's called tacit agreement.
Tacit agreement is the correct phrase.
Can you speak just briefly, Ian, about how we address these notices to individuals in their private personal capacity as opposed to their position in
I thought that's what I mentioned there already. It's not the position, it's the person. Because they're the person who's going to go before the tribal jury. They're the ones that are going to switch.
How do we make that happen?
Numbers.
Sorry?
How do we enforce it? How do we make it happen? You know?
Well, it's like anything. You need a critical mass of people.
Yeah.
The first thing you need to do is knowledge. You need to learn this. And I mean like learn it. Because what happened to me, it's actually made me go back inside and discover my own inner sovereignty. That's what you need to do. And I just found over time the veil just drops.
It's quite liberating, empowering.
Of course. Well, the truth is, the truth doesn't care. The truth doesn't care about feelings.
It takes success.
It is.
Is it working with the common law sheriffs as well to?
This is the thing. With Magna Carta, it's individuals, right? If individuals chose to get together and have someone to represent them as a constable, right, then fair enough. But the problem in that situation we're in today, they just laugh at it. Doesn't matter, they just laugh at it. What are you going to do? Arrest me? Just pull the guns out or take and do whatever they want to do. The truth is we've got to have all people who learn to understand this, and then I reckon around about 10%, 2.8 million Australians say, if they can turn around and say no, and not stop paying bills, all the rest of it, because it takes courage to do this. Freedom isn't free.
We had 1.8 million people in Canberra and nothing happened.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear.
We had 1.8 million people in Canberra and nothing happened.
Yeah, well, I think they got gotten to. I think that was a
Probably got lazy.
yeah, I think there was a few people see. I don't trust any politicians at all.
Yeah.
They all try and take the glory and split everybody up. But see, you had 3.9 million people that didn't vote for referendum. So that's showing you that there's a lot of people out there. I'm the same one. I'm dealing with the AEC now with notices setting for.
So talking about notices, I'm trying to stop the WHO pandemic treaty.
We have that one, sorry.
So I've written 27 letters before I heard that J. Scott to disband MPs all over Australia. I got no response. So then I heard about J. Scott. I don't know if you know who J. Scott is. J. Scott is a government organisation that deals with treaties. And there's 16 members of J. Scott. So I wrote a letter to each individual J. Scott member with my concerns for the pandemic treaty and the dangers to our sovereignty. And again, I've heard nothing back. I want to try and put pressure on these individuals, in the J Scott members, but I don't know where to go with that. I think putting notices on them to say to do this with commitment treason, it's coming up with the right words and terminologies to make them think about their actions.
Well, that's exactly, and to get the most out of it, you've got to increase your knowledge. There's no other way.
Sorry, what's J Scott?
There's 16 members of MPs that make up J Scott, and the different MPs from all over the country, so senators and members of parliament, and these 16 individuals, their role is to deal with treaties, like the WHO pandemic treaty, and whatever other treaty that goes through for legislation that goes through parliament.
Is that an abbreviation, J Scott?
Yes, and exactly what
I
it
can't
means.
find it.
Okay?
It doesn't matter. It's not lawful. Where do they get their authority from? They have no authority. They're just people got put in positions trying to tell you what to do.
Yep.
This is what all this is about. You say no.
Yep.
If people acquiesce and give in, then we're all done for. Can't do it. Most people, and I'm afraid to say, shit.
I think May is the deadline for the WHO pandemic treaty. I'm trying to put pressure on.
There's no such thing. That's not lawful. It doesn't exist in nature.
It's still going to go
Yes
ahead.
or no?
Yes.
It's not in nature.
That's what it means. It's still going to go ahead, right?
Sorry, no, I can't hear you. Just grab the mic.
It's the same thing. So, is that still going ahead, right? If this petition, or it's a petition is on going ahead?
I'm doing letters.
That's just your own, or is it only talking about one that's going ahead?
I'm doing letters myself.
Oh.
So I'm writing them directly to the J Scott members.
Yeah.
And I'm putting my name to it and pushing.
Very good.
So,
I've just got that air conditioning in the background. I can't hear anything.
so this is something I've taken on myself, and I'm writing directly to these MPs. And I just don't know what to do. It does go ahead.
So what do you do if you don't get a response from them?
Well, again, this is about knowledge and learning. You've got to understand what the law is, right? And then it's the lawful process to go with it. And then it's your job, once you understand, you have to do something. To do nothing is a choice. You're loading up on karma, okay? So your job is, once you understand this law, is to pass it on, right? And so forth, until we hit that level of people, and then it's be finished overnight. That's what we've got to do. That's what has to happen. There's no other way.
The individual members.
Yes.
So have you addressed them in a private capacity?
Yes, I wrote letters to my signature.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we use this notice process because it's lawful and it works. Quite often it does stop the people. Sometimes it doesn't. They just keep going and you end up deciding to comply with your arrest and just point out, look, this is just going to it's just adding more crimes on the fire. But we don't get involved with appealing to, writing letters to MPs or appealing to senators. They don't have any authority. They just love it when people write letters to them and appeal to them. Can you act to protect my rights? Don't let them think that you believe that they have any authority. We just don't have anything to do with them at all. If they contact us at all with any form of demand, we just say that we give them the notices. Sorry, I don't recognise your authority. There's no point in appealing to these people to continue acting as though they have authority. What's the point of appealing to the governor of the state if he hasn't got any authority? You just spying his ego. It's pointless.
Yeah, so are you just suggesting that people don't pay like council rates or their
feeding fines and
when it gets followed up, you send these letters out? Just don't pay council rates?
It's up to you, right, on how far you want to go, on how you want, because they will come after you, right, and they will do what they do, coercion, threats of violence and all the rest of it. It's up to you how far you want to go. But eventually, yes, the only way to stop them is starve them for money.
Have people been successful in, like,
It's like I said, it's like I've had legal letters sent to my council or so, and I've just started sending those and they go away. Right? But I've sent my council said, if you send any more, that I'm going to claim for damages for all my rates that I've paid over the years, plus like pain and suffering, whatever you like to call it. But they're set up as lawful documents that work in courts. Lawful courts, yeah.
There are people who've had success with it. I was threatened by the TGA because I was inputting ivermectin during the COVID restriction period. I got a couple of official notices from them saying, you've got to supply a doctor's prescription to show that you're authorised. This is a prohibited substance that you're bringing into the country. Right? So I received 2 of those. I put them on notice. In fact, a couple of videos about that process. They sent me some half-baked letter about, Magna Carta doesn't really apply anymore. A couple of quotes from, judges from different parts of the Commonwealth. And whenever that happens, we rebut that. We have to rebut whatever they claim. That's the lawful process. And I did a video about it. And after I'd gone through the 5 notices, I never heard anything more from them. They were threatening me with large fines and jail time. The next thing I heard was from the Australian Border Force. They were the ones who actually took the tablets. And I did the same process with them. Neither of these people put their names to these demands. So with the APF, I just sent them to Dwayne Freeman, the Deputy Commissioner of the Australian Border Force, and said, your officers are making these unlawful demands. They're not even lawful instruments they're sending. There's no signature, there's no address. I went through the whole thing with him, never heard anything more from either of them. That was about 18 months ago. Yeah. Now, I don't know whether that's because they changed their policy and decided they weren't going to make it unlawful anymore. They never actually tell you why they stopped. Right? They don't say, oh yeah, well done, you've got me, you win. No, they don't say that. They just stop for one reason or another. We had a lady, you can tell about Susanna. She got the summons from the...
Oh yeah, Susanna got a summons to Peary Court, and she just sent him the notice if I'm not going. And we all did that as support for it. And then it just all went away. Yeah.
She sent the notices and they
all went away. Because judges and magistrates know. They know that if you get forced into a court, they're putting the noose around them.
And you don't have to go because they're not chapter 3 courts.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Because the summons are legal. Okay, in the legal.
Do you do a conditional acceptance? If you summons say, I'll go on the proviso that
you'd have a cover letter to rebut that. Say, thank you for your invitation, blah, 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 but I will not do blah, blah, blah. And then you send your first.
That's the cover letter.
Yeah. Which is that one there. On the Telegram group for Magna Carta, there's lots more. There's only thing there, they get adapted all the time. And yeah, you want to?
No, John, I'm constantly protesting physically for freedom and against government control on our lives. I understand what you're saying, but let me get my head around this. Are you saying the Constitution we have is not lawful and you are bound by the Magna Carta 1215?
Correct.
That's the only lawful document?
Correct.
So, and I say this with respect because I hate what is happening to us as a society right now with the continued control over our lives with central bank digital currency.
digital ID, COVID vaccinations, blah, blah, blah. On it goes, on it goes. But still, don't you need some authority to guide us as a society when you say, let's have a trial by jury? Are you saying, let's just all roam free and abide by the law, which the vast majority of people do, and just have trial by jury? But as a practical person, as a builder, how do you do that without government? I know the government we have is insidious and horrible and socialist and communist. How do you do that practically without a government or a governing body?
Do you have trust in your fellow man?
Yeah.
Do you believe most people are good?
Absolutely.
Most people follow the laws, you know?
Yep.
Cause no loss.
Yep.
You know? Then why? Why wouldn't, if the government was to disappear tomorrow, it wouldn't be chaos. People would just get on with their lives.
It's a huge...
You know, there's no reason for councils, because you can bring up a private business and say, look, how much could it cost to empty my bins? Or you get together as a group and say, look, we'll dob in and have someone provide electricity. You know, I think there's just a lot of people are scared because there's a word called statism, which means belief in government, right? And a lot of people are like that. People are scared of anarchy or chaos, but part of being free is to accept chaos. That's how you improve. Having a fixed system is just like having a different master.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't need to preach to you because I'm standing outside RAA every Monday morning for 2 or 3 hours. And identified by police and security guards. So I know. So I say it in respect. It's a huge ship to turn around. I respect what you're doing, but it's a massive ship to turn around and change direction. But I understand your point, and thank you for this.
I reckon one generation. Teach it to kids in school. That's it. The future of our kids are looking how they're getting taught now.
I agree.
Gates, fairy time, you know, all this nonsense.
It's just indoctrination. It's just bullshit. That's happening from infant school through you.
It's not going to be smooth sailing for sure. There's going to be adjustments, but most people are good.
Absolutely. No.
You must trust your fellow man.
Yeah.
I will just get that.
Just over here.
Thank you. I'm very new to Magna Carta, but I'm just curious, if someone wants to be a lawyer, they have to do like a 3-year law degree to understand how that system works and the laws and whatnot. If we're going to be wanting to use the Magna Carta system, is there a course in place where people can really understand what it is, how it works, and then even have people qualify in this system as a representative and be employed to represent in court?
Under common law, there's no lawyers. You don't need them. People are taught the common law, the law of the land. Do no harm, cause no loss, commit no fraud, and keep the peace. That's it.
I guess a lot of people would be very anxious about representing
that's what I'm
themselves.
saying. That's what about statism. Like, people are scared. People like to have a ruler over government. It's unfortunate most people like that little safe and cosy thing instead of taking responsibility. That's what it's about.
It would be good to have a course that was quite in-depth, which made you empowered and understanding what it's about.
Knowledge of Magna Carta, you'll learn so much and you'll understand. I was exactly the same as you. I didn't know how the world exists without it.
I've got a lot to learn, yeah, very good. But one other thing is that trial by jury is, a lot of the time it's trial by media, and that's when the judge alone is important because they understand in this current system what's legal, what isn't legal. And if you have a jury of people that have been swayed by media, then you will not get a fair trial. So there is a place for trial by jury.
If you look at jury trials and how they change people internally, it makes people choose their conscience and their moral compass. You find a lot of despot people, I was reading a book the other day about France, how they went through their revolution, and one thing they said is trial by jury they can't alter. Because when you have laws and stuff like that, if you commit A, that is B. There's no other way. There's no in between. With trial by jury, you look at everything. You look at the person, you look at what they've done and the reason why. And he could have been a crime, but because he was trying to save his kids or, you know, whatever it might be, and they said, well, yeah, but the law's terrible, so annul the law. It's a conscience thing with trial by juries. And they've tried it over the years, and they can't dissuade them. And I know what you mean, like having all the media up on them and all the rest of it. Right? I understand what you mean. But this has happened over the years, especially in America, when they've had all this. It's all about knowledge anyway. What knowledge is power.
And I know where Rand is coming from, but the trial by jury is your peers, isn't it? The peers and your jury people who know you. Yeah.
Article 39 tells you that.
No, with this group here, we would all get together and we'd say, right, we've done this. And we will agree on it. That's how it works.
Rain is guilty.
Is there any legislation in the current system that compels people to leave their names that are representing the state, like it be it the Australian Electoral Commission, council, or whoever? That's the hardest thing trying to pull. It's like pulling teeth, trying to get them to get a name to that, because if they give a name and they can't take it, they won't take it to court because it's accountability.
They're all criminals. There's no legislation, it's null and void.
Yeah.
It's just not there.
Is there any way to compel
well,
them to get a name?
because they control the guns and stuff. Yeah, every time you get something without a name and address and a signature, it's not a lawful instrument. You could write something and send it to me and say whatever it is, I'm Joe Block.
I mean, if they're the office holder acting on behalf of the government, on behalf of the state, trying to find you, trying to invite you into their court system so that they can extract money from you, they'll do it if they don't have to put their name down. But when getting them to put their names and their office holder and printed names, like the federal election writ, we put a complaint into the criminal complaint to the federal attorney general. Didn't hear anything back from him, but a few of us sent that in because on the federal election writ at the bottom, the secretary to the Federal Executive Council, a woman called Leonie Egger, she had the title, she had the signature, but she didn't have her printed name at the bottom. She was the person who put it on the public record, so that's
again. It's all null and void. There's no government.
Yeah.
Article 61 is what
yeah. But what I mean is,
if you're going to do that, you have to go to the top man who runs the show.
Yeah, see, and that's where they've got that extra level of protection by having all these people that will, just throw it at you because they're not accountable.
Eventually, when they go before trial by jury, they won't have that.
Yes,
and again, it gets back to us learning the law and getting that critical mass to say no more.
So we can get a trial by jury if it's a major indictable offence, or if it's a capital offence like murder, rape, or whatever. You can get a trial by jury. You can nominate for a trial by jury.
You're right. Under Article 39 says you have the right to trial by your peers.
Yes.
And if a judge does not instruct the jury of the powers of the jury, they're committing treason.
Yes.
They're all committing treason. But because it's their own club, they can do what they like until people say no.
Yeah. I think if we get more act and like attacking at the top end, I understand what you're saying, and I know it's all reasonable. I know under the Article 61 at the very bottom, like if any, even the court system itself is unlawful, it's legal, but it's unlawful. But as far as getting their minions that sort of try and attack people on every day, fining us and persecuting us and predatory behaviour, it's like giving them notices if there was ways to box them into a corner where they are compelled to give their name. They're off,
a mass of people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
If you just send one notice, they probably just throw it in the bin. But if it gets 100, what's going to happen? They're going to shoot themselves. All politicians and all those public servants will fall like a deck of cards. I worked amongst them all for a lot of years. I know what they're like. They're all weak and spineless. And despots and tyrants are only as good as the people believe them. Yeah. As soon as people turn their backs on them, they all fall.
That's where I think the weak point is, but having those minions, strategising the way we can get... we did some creative writing when we went for the Australian Electoral Commission. We actually got the name, we recorded this. And then when they was trying to ask for $20, why did you vote for us? sort of drew a picture and so he went, well, Will Taylor, that's his name, you know, he was there on this day at such and such. And then I asked the guy his name, like, could you leave your name and they're giving your name and address and will correspond, getting them to correspond, always in email or registered post, so it's trackable and that can sort of...
You must rebut.
Yeah, rebut, but also just that, yeah, I mean, but as far
You've got to be careful, you're not legitimising the system.
No,
they're criminals.
I'm just, yeah, I'm trying to...
Every time you start doing this, you're legitimising the system. Yeah. That's what the notice is for. You're going in as the person and say you're a criminal, mate. This is the evidence, and if you don't rebut it, you're guilty of treason.
Yeah, well...
Look, I wish I could give you the magic bullet, but it's not.
But that is the magic bullet, if we could sort of get them to be accountable, and that's the accountable karma as well, you know? It's like, you know,
Well, they can't escape that. The only what they do is that higher ups actually give orders to the minions down below. They try to show their karmic debt. And the people who commit the most crimes are order followers, police, soldiers, etc. They're the worst. If you look at police generally, you look at their like little boys, the abandonment issues. That's why they go to specific psychological set. Yeah.
Has it got to the point where you've tried this in court and you've been supported by a judge?
David Robinson?
Yeah, but there's a case, yes, there's a lady in England, Danielle Davidson, she took issue with a water bill. Right, she said the water corporation, you don't have actually any lawful right to be charging me for water. It was an act of treason by Margaret Thatcher to sell the supply of water, which is an absolutely essential commodity, into private hands for profiteering. So I'm not going to pay, I don't accept your authority. So of course, they went backwards and forwards. Eventually, they took it to court, and she got a summons. And she didn't go to the court. She wrote to the judge, put him on notice, and he issued a bench warrant for her arrest. And then she hand wrote a letter, like nothing nice like this all printed or anything, hand wrote a letter to him pointing out about, he was a small officer of the law and his duty was to uphold the law. She asked him, I'm asking you, since the invocation of Article 61, can you demonstrate that you have any authority to order anybody to do anything? If you can't and you execute this warrant, I will have to pursue you in a tort for kidnap, unlawful imprisonment, and assault, trespass, all sorts of different torts. She said, I won't have any. These are very serious crimes, she said, but not as serious as high treason, which is what you're doing. And she heard nothing more from him. The court sent her a letter saying, well, this warrant's going to be executed on such and such a date, but nobody ever turned up. Now, that was a bench warrant issued by a judge, and he just backed away.
Here, John, in Australia,
there's probably been cases in Australia. There's a friend of ours, Fitzroy. He had a case that was going to court. Some police turned up on his doorstep with court papers, right? And Fitzroy said, well, I'm not accepting these. He said, I can't accept that you've got any authority. They said, well, it's from the court. So he read a caution card, which states basically, I must caution you that I'm standing under Article 61 of Magna Carta, which was invoked on 23rd of March 2001. If you attempt to enforce null and void acts and statutes or extract money from me, I will have to pursue you in a tort, and for which you'll be personally liable, and you face the prospect of life in prison. These are very serious offences. He started to read this. He didn't even get all the way through, and the senior of the two police there just turned around and walked back to his car. And the young one said, what's going on, Sarge? What's going on?
Is it one of these?
They came back and tried to give him the, it's a caution card there, tried to give the paper to Fitzroy. I said, no, I'm not accepting them. He said, you know, you haven't got authority. And the guy just sort of threw him on the ground and left. After Fitzroy thought, well, it's not going to be long before some cops are knocking on the door because, of course, they're mucking around. But after 2 or 3 weeks, he heard nothing, so he rang up the court when these papers were issued. He said, can you tell me what's the situation with this case? And they said, can you just hang on a sec? There was a bit of rustling in the background, and sorry, we can't find any papers with your name on it. You know? Yeah. So, but it depends. See, most people would cave. It's very frightening. It's, you know, it's threatening. These guys have got guns. Another time, you know, 3 guys turned up and arrested Fitzroy. They didn't show him a warrant or anything. Just 3 guys just grabbed him and took him down and locked him up. And he was forced into the court. And they said, he said, what are my options? They said, you can appeal this action, in which case you'll be held on remand. He said, well, how long will that be? Well, it could be 2 or 3 months. And what's the other options? You can undergo one of our sort of re-education courses, you know, to sort of turn you into a better citizen. And he said, well, okay, I think I might do that. And I'll comply under duress because I'm entitled. The law says we should not do harm. And that includes, I'm entitled to minimize the harm to myself. He said, you just do what you just do. Tell me the thing, what I've got to go, and we'll do that. That's what he said. He complied under duress with that. Because what's the point of sitting in jail for 2 or 3 months? You know, what good does that do? So he went along and did the course. As it turned out, he wasn't really suitable for it, and they kicked him off the course, and had to go back into court again. And this time they went backwards and forwards, and he was saying to the magistrate, you know, are you threatening me with violence? Are you an honest man? He said, are you threatening me with violence? I'm trying to comply with what you said. And he said that the guy was really trying to help him, trying to give him a technical way out of it. And they found a technicality where they could sort of beat the case. So, yeah, there are cases where it is successful. It all depends on how far the person's willing to go and whether they're going to cause serious disruption in the home. That's serious harm.
Just one final thing with police or any public servant, you've got to challenge them, right? And you ask them first if they're a public servant,
yes.
Right? And if they're a public servant, they must under the oath, right? Can you repeat the oath to me? It's a requirement, right? And the reason by that is so that you know, that they understand what the oath is, what it's about, and who they serve. If they can't do it, they're not a public official, which means they're saying, well, you know, it's a serious crime, you wouldn't take a public official. You must always question their jurisdiction or establish their
There was another video you can see on this site.
And just whether you're looking at the caution cards, they're all on that website. You can get them easy enough.
You can ask the judges and the magistrates and masters if they're acting under oath as well.
You must ask that first. See if they're under the Crown, the Bar, or some secret society. But they'll try and waylay you. Yeah, sorry, Phil.
There's probably a video on here where they're, again, the cops turned up at Fitzroy's place, where he served some papers, give me your name, blah, blah, blah. He asked the guy who was under an oath, he said, well, which is what? He said, you don't know what that is? Sorry. He said, you don't know what your oath is? And the cop said, no, I'm just here to serve some papers, you know. And he said, well, are you a public servant? Yeah, of course I'm a public servant. Well, let's see. You know, what's your oath of office? And the guy just turned around and walked back to his car. And he said, you're just a sovereign citizen. He said, no. He said, yeah, you're just a policy enforcer. You're not a constable at all.
What are you accusing me of?
Yeah, he said, yeah, the guy accused him of, he said, are you a sovereign citizen? He said, well, you're accusing me. He said, no, I'm not accusing you, I'm just here to serve some papers. Well, are you a public servant? Yes, okay, well, what's your oath of office? You must be under oath of office if you're a public servant. And the guy just turned around, and I just turned around, drove off. And he was just yelling this sort of, oh, you're a sovereign citizen, you'll come back. But that was the end of the story.
Sorry.
Just in regards to council rates, if you send the conditional acceptances and they don't rebut them, and then they turn up, can they take your property? I've heard that. Is that true?
If they don't rebut your notices, they're acquiescing.
Yep.
It means they agree with what you're saying, so they agree that they're committing treason.
If they turn up and then...
But that's what I'm saying. They have the guns.
Yeah.
Right? All you can do is what John said. You can go as far as you can, but one of the things is do no harm, and that doesn't mean to yourself.
Yeah.
You don't want to get chucked in the slammer or whatever
Yeah.
for doing that. But these are lawful notices, lawful in court, in trial by jury.
Yeah.
So eventually, they will have to answer for it.
Right.
And what I did with the CEO of my council, I sent a 6 notice saying that I'm going to pay by duress, and that this is going to be used against you as a claim for damages.
Yep.
So eventually he'll have to pay out his personal, all my rates I've ever paid.
Right. So if you put a no trespass sign up on your gate, does that stop everybody coming in, like the police coming in?
Well, the police can't come onto your property because it's your own property, but you understand what the law of 3 does. In the legal world, they've got the law of 3, so if you've got no trespassing sign, you've got to have 3 of them.
Oh,
Right. And then like the last one will be on your door. So if they come in your property without a signed warrant with a wet ink signature,
yeah.
right, they have no to be there. So you tell them you are trespassing, you leave the property. You must ask them 3 times.
Yeah.
Right? And when I'm talking legal speak, this is not Magna Carta at all. This is how their system works. And then what you say is if you don't leave now, I'll ring the police and have you arrested for trespass. There was a lady in New South Wales who did that, and she got $70,000 out of the New South Wales cops because he just climbed the fence without any authority on it.
I don't know if everyone's familiar with the First Amendment orders. First Amendment orders of marriage. Anyone been following that lately? So what they do is they go around and scrutinise the police public servants with video evidence, and people will test them. Police will come out. They'll try and trespass on public property, and then eventually, if constable sergeant gets through, detains them unlawfully, then their immunity is taken away from them, and then they can sue the person. And these orders have been going for about 4 years, and we've followed. I mean, recently for about 20 years, but I think we should start doing that here.
Yeah, understand too that the US Constitution is basically on the back of Magna Carta.
Yeah, that's right. And we have the same thing, so it's freedom of press, right? So we can go around and implement. I think that's where we should start.
The thing with the common law, the thing with the common law is do no harm, cause no loss, commit no fraud, and keep the peace. So they trespass on your property, they're causing you harm.
Oh yeah, no, but what I'm saying.
So it's all parts of natural law again.
Yeah.
That people just can't come in and tell you to do something.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is for a practical solution for all of us, what I think we should start doing is auditing the public service the same as what the auditors inherit.
We should always record such interactions.
We need to start recording all interactions with public servants. We need to give them notice. If they're talking to us, they have to have enough suspicion to talk.
Well, no one can step on your property without a lawful instrument.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about property, but what our problem is, we're being dictated by these organisations with policies, acts, etc. And they're taking money from us, right? So what we need to do is go and film them in these acts. We know that they're doing it illegally as much as possible. Keep them accountable. I think there's plenty of those opportunities that we can film. I've got one coming up on Monday. Anyone wants to ask about that? I'll show it up.
I'm sorry.
The Trump government. Yeah,
That's all good.
but does everyone know about those orders? You should follow that. And then we we can do it here.
Saying always film the police, handwritten.
Oh, they lie through their teeth.
Yeah, but so they're the enforcers, they're acting illegally, so we need to take them.
I do it every time we do signs down the street, and the cops try and move us along. Within 5 minutes, they do the walker shake, because they cannot touch us.
That's weird.
Not an handle.
Wouldn't it be really good if the police abided by their oath?
They do when you make them accountable by doing
But I mean, like with their moral compass, constables, right, are independent. They don't follow orders. All they do, their job is to enforce the law, right? And in the early days, it was their local community that hired constables.
They were really good, but
What's about now, right now?
I can confirm that as of yesterday, I spoke to my neighbour this morning and there was a paddy wagon, went up his drive, stopped because he had a no trespass sign, same as what I got on my place. And he was 100 metres up his drive, he looked down at him, and they reversed and went away. So, you know, I don't know about the rule of three, but if you've got a sign that's prominent at your gate, it's pretty by law, not legal, but by law they can't come onto your property.
There is some trespass notices with High Court decisions on it about how they can't, and that stops them as well because it's all a precedent already. But again, you're going into the legal sort of side of it. And just to let you know, the actual dictionary meaning legal is going against God's law, which in other words going against natural law. And also the second tenet of Satanism is moral relativism, and which means they make up their own morals, which is what the legal system is. You must understand that we're all slaves at the moment in this system. We might be well-fed slaves, but we're still slaves. Because if you go to work and pay tax, but you don't do it voluntary, you're told to, otherwise I'll send the boys around, you're a slave.
John, you wanted to say one more thing?
That's why government means mind control.
John?
That's what it means.
Before we wrap up.
Oh, well, we've got up on the screen there the constable's oath, which basically all the constable's oaths are that type of thing. And it just points out they really decide they swear to carry out to preserve the King's peace. There's nothing in there about taking orders from superior officers or politicians. So every day they go to work and they're just following orders, they're breaching that oath. And we need to end up, eventually we need to when we get enough people saying that we're not recognising this, we can actually swear in some proper constables and get back to a proper jury system.
Being charged with treason, could they use as their oath under a private corporation? Because the Australian government gives them legitimate government. But could that be one thing that they were trying to?
Because they're illegitimate to start with.
I know, but I mean from their standpoint.
And they're not real. They're fantasy. They're not real. They never were real.
They could try that, but it wouldn't stand up in court.
All
All right, well, it looks as though... Yeah, okay.
That still holds
That's your version of the truth.
Right, that's not the part of it is the truth. It's not in place.
Right, that's what they're using.
All right, well, look, it looks like we've coming to a natural end of the event. I'd like to thank everybody for coming along, and I hope you've enjoyed it and found something useful. The information you can get on the paper there for the other links, and anybody who wants to get copies of these slides, email on the paper that Evie has put up there, and we'll get them out to you. We want this disseminated as far and wide. Yeah, you can join the Telegram group. On the Telegram group, you can ask questions about, if you're not sure how to fill in these forms or how to
write these points. There are people that you can ask questions in real time, and some of them often answer you in real time. And they'll point out, oh, you can do it this way. So there's hundreds of people there, there's stuff available. And it's a small group, but it's getting bigger all the time. And like most things like that, when you drop a stone into a pond, each ripple goes out further and further. Let's do it that way. That's what we've got to do. It's not easy, but hey, the prize is going to be the end of the free society. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming. I guess this week we're going to course in, if you want to learn more, there's a website available, and you could join Telegram. There's more information there, and you can follow up Zoom meeting every Tuesday and Sunday. Adelaide one. Yeah, Tuesday is like all states. We'll give information through social media, which is Facebook and Telegram if you are there. So that'd be great to learn more and engage with you. Very good. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you. Just a minute, Justin's going to have a word this week.
So, keep yourself back I'm going to walk around Australia, trying to promote what governments are doing and what they should be doing, and how they're acting unlawfully, with vaccines, mandates, lockdowns. I'm going to try and promote the Magna Carta and try and educate people, which is the main important work, is to educate people on their rights and to stand up for themselves. I've got a Facebook page, Walk with Freedom Advice, email address, Walk with Freedom Advice, if you want to email me, or support or whatever. So I just thank you and yeah, I'll let you go.
Thank you.